Welcome to Transforming and Thriving
with best friends Brooke, Stacy, and Neelia.
Podcast dedicated to women sharing their inspirational stories. Hey everyone, we're so excited to give back to our community. We're partnering with the Wellness and Prevention Center in South Orange County, an incredible group supporting youth and families with mental health services. They've just opened an Alcove Center in San Juan Capistrano, California, which is a safe space where young people between 12 to 25 years old can find support for their mental health, connect with peers, and get guidance with school or work. Here's how you can help. We'll be matching up to $1,000 in donations from our listeners. Every dollar goes directly to creating brighter futures for local youth. Check out the link in our show notes to donate. Follow WPCOC on Instagram and learn more at alcove.org. That's ALLCOVE.org. Together, we can make a real difference.
Hey there, everyone. We're so thrilled to be here for another episode. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Neelia. I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined today by Dr. Arreanna Marko. Dr. Marko is a chiropractor and holistic healer with a deep passion for whole body wellness. We're so excited to have her on the show today to share her insights and expertise in holistic health. Personally, I'm really looking forward to learning more about her journey and getting her perspective on a hot topic of transitioning off long-term prescriptions like birth control and Adderall.
Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Marko. Where are you joining us from today?
Hi, I am joining you from beautiful Dana Point.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what time is it there for you guys right now?
Currently, it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
Okay. All right. So I'm in Japan. So it is 6:10 a.m. on Wednesday. So I'm in the future, and it's looking like a good day so far.
I was going to say, I hope the future looks bright. So that's
It
good to hear.
does. It does. How's your day going so far?
Not too bad. Just kind of middle of the day in between patients and working at a few different options. I'm at a fitness studio here and there, getting exposure to different types of clients and just helping people live their best lives in every way I can.
Very cool. Well, we're definitely looking forward to learning more from you today. And so let's just dive right in. We want to start off by asking you, can you share a significant moment or like a turning point in your life that maybe marks a before and after?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mean to be cheesy, but chiropractic school was a significant change in my life. It really changed my viewpoint on just how to see health as an overall form of wellness. A lot of people are really exposed to Western medicine living in the United States and don't really consider other avenues of health. So that was one thing that really shifted my perspective on just overall wellness in general. So I used to work for a surgeon and was looking at physical therapy school for a while, and then found the world of chiropractic. So it has the ability to kind of make it what you want. So as a chiropractor, I can look at specific niches as nutrition-based, really rehab-based, overall wellness-based. The beautiful thing about it is we take a whole body approach to a patient that comes into my clinic or patients we work with. So we look at not only what is going on from a structural level, but what other psychological, social, mental, environmental, and also physical ailments are causing these dis-ease, we call it, in the body. So being able to understand how those things are interconnected really shifted my perspective on how to view healthcare, and not only in myself, but in those of my patients as well.
I love that. I love that you were able to kind of create that spectrum for yourself and that powerful realization and learning to view health in a holistic way. And also you were able to transition. You worked with a surgeon and you were considering, physical therapy. And then you found that chiropractic could open up that horizon for you. Can you tell us a little bit more how you came to that realization and what it felt like when you decided to change the dynamic of your work environment, essentially?
Yeah, granted, every medical doctor, I appreciate them and I believe I'm just going to start by saying there is a need for that in today's day and age, and we wouldn't be where we are as a society without that. But there are different routes that people can take, and they often don't know those options to them. So for me, I had been on birth control for about 10 years just to be protective as I was growing up. I didn't want to have any incidences, and it also helped with my regulation of my cycle, or so I thought. I was getting a cycle consistently, but as I kind of started to go through school and realize the long-term effects that medication has on your body, not only from a liver detox standpoint, but how it affects so many different avenues of your organs. Another prescription that I got off was for my ADHD medication. I was on Adderall for about 8 to 9 years consistently as I went through undergraduate school and then continued on through my doctorate. I unfortunately was using it as a bit of a weight loss prescription as well, since it does reduce your appetite. So I just started to see a lot of negative side effects that these medications were causing and just things that would overall impact my health. So after the rigors of chiropractic school, I started to notice some just underlying symptoms that I hadn't expected before. Like, for instance, I have great vision and started to notice some blurriness that started to occur. Went to an ophthalmologist and they said that this is a side effect of long time prescription use with Adderall and those stimulant medications. So I kind of said to myself, why am I taking something that's preventing me from or inhibiting things that are normally working great? And same thing with the birth control. I started to realize, okay, well, ultimately, I would like to have children one day, and my hormones are going to take a while to regulate. And sure, it is great, again, for certain types of women who have those hormone irregularities. But for me, a healthy individual, why was I taking a medication that I could just find alternate ways to protect myself or do those things that the medication was providing? So ultimately, it ended up in me getting off all of my medication just to kind of live an overall healthy lifestyle.
I think a lot of people can really relate to your story, feeling like they need extra support to manage the things like hormones and mood and things you're talking about here, and then running into limitations or side effects of traditional medicine. It can feel maybe overwhelming when you're given just one or two standard options and there isn't always enough research or guidance around holistic approaches, right? And I've experienced this myself where I'm confused at what is there, what else is there for me, other than traditional medicine. Yeah, I went through a long period in high school into college, mostly into college, where I experienced migraines,
Mhm.
and I could only take a certain type of migraine medication, and those certain type of migraine medications had a lot of negative side effects. So I fell into where I could only take antidepressants for my
Mm.
migraines, and it actually had the opposite effect where it made me depressed
Mhm.
and almost numb to life, and I didn't feel good, and I remember going through about 2 years of that and finally just having enough. My migraines were gone, which was
Right.
beautiful. But how did you start learning more about the other options that were out there? Was it through personal research, working with other practitioners, something else?
Yeah, a lot of it was just doing some soul searching. Some other symptoms I was experiencing with the ADHD and the high stress of chiropractic school was high cortisol levels, anxiety, panic attacks, irritability. And I just looked in the mirror one day, and luckily I have a partner who's been able to be lenient as as my mood swings were coming up throughout school. But I just looked and I said, this is really not who I am, and I've really lost a part of myself. So what can I do to gain that back? There's the traditional routes like therapy and talking to someone about it. For me, I was just like, okay, this is a something that I think I can handle internally. So I resorted to some other approaches like making sure I was getting exercise every day, supplementing with things to combat my high cortisol levels, and doing mindfulness activities. For me, I tried a couple different mindfulness activities such as meditation, yoga. I seem to really stick with. So for me, the movement and association with the mindfulness is what really got me going. So that would be anything from going on a daily sunset walk to get some sunshine and outdoors, or being able to control my breath during different types of exercises. So I really kind of leaned into the exercise and mindfulness combined activity to help me kind of get through those.
This might be an ignorant question because I have used birth control in the past, but I've never been on Adderall.
Mhm.
Do you have to like wean yourself off? How does that typically look for someone
Yep.
that doesn't has never experienced taking that type of medication?
Yep. So I would always say It's obviously recommended to consult with your physician, whoever is prescribing the medication for you first. I personally just kind of told myself, okay, for me, there was two timelines. I just set these internal timelines for myself. One was the start of a new year. That's an easy timeline for everyone to set. So the start of the new year, about 2.5 years ago now, a little and some change, I decided I'm going to stop using birth control because I was really only doing it to prevent pregnancy. Again, depending on what your healthcare needs are, that's where talking to physician is going to be best suited towards you, and they can work with you to wean you off. But for me, since I was relatively healthy otherwise and not using it as another form of therapeutic benefit, I was able to just stop after one pack, or essentially after my prescription ran out. And then with regards to the ADHD, that was again a timeline I set for myself of just when I'm done with school, I'm done studying for all these hard exams. I don't want to be taking this drug anymore.
That's great advice. Working with your doctor is definitely critical. And also, if you're not getting the support that you need from that doctor, probably looking at going to a doctor that can support you. Do you feel like
Mm.
that's another avenue? Maybe more of like a holistic doctor or naturopathic doctor?
Yeah, absolutely. As a holistic doctor, we always work as a health group, right? So we don't really want to tell anyone to get off medication without consulting their doctor because we don't know the full scope of why they're on that medication. You
Right.
can certainly share that information with us. We're happy to help navigate you through that. But we are also here to provide alternatives, be that nutritional supplement, either through whole foods or through supplement based, or finding the right activities for you to do. Basically, there's a whole bunch, and this is a whole rabbit hole that you can go down from exercise based or nutrition focused. I primarily look at nutrition focused because I think food is medicine, and there's a lot of ways that we can supplement our diet with providing the nutrients that we're missing to help those chemical deficits.
That's very cool. And I love that team approach. Sounds really important, and
Yeah.
something that is ideal for people that are wanting to go on a health journey and treat the whole body.
Exactly. Well, it's a team effort, right? You yourself are the main part of the team captain, if you will. And
Mm.
you just have to bring on different people who you think are going to help you be the most successful in your journey. So it's important to have a team effort in your health. Absolutely.
Great advice. So, I wanted to learn a little bit more about you entering chiropractic medicine and the shift for you. So, your experience leaving traditional medicine and then entering chiropractic medicine. How do you
Mhm.
feel like that's shaped you as an individual and then as a practitioner?
Yeah. So, like I said before, I do appreciate the Western form of medicine. I think there is definitely benefits for it, but I think there's a lot that can be done in a holistic, natural way before we resort to that. Obviously, like I said, depends on your case, but my shift has always been to help people. So when I was looking at going to school, my undergraduate degree, I knew I wanted to get into some sort of medicine and wasn't sure which avenue I wanted to go down. After a few years of experience in the physical therapy world and working for different types of, I guess, in different positions within an MD's office as a front desk staff, back office staff, assistant to the surgeon, actually helping perform certain procedures, I just essentially found that when you're giving people prescriptions, it's putting a band-aid on the situation. It came down ultimately that I wanted to become a healer rather than a fixer. So, what is the root issue that's causing these issues to arise? Is it not necessarily the presenting symptom, but something a few steps back. So, that's what shifted me towards holistic medicine is we look at the body as a whole being, right? The whole body works as an intricate puzzle, an intricate unit versus individual pieces. So, you have all these specialists in Western medicine that are looking at individual pieces of the body and looking to treat those specific areas. But what the key is they're missing there is that they're not necessarily always looking at the body as a whole. So it's really kind of what pushed me down to the Eastern approach or the holistic approach was being able to understand that there's multiple things that are going on that may be ultimately providing or ultimately leading to the symptom you're dealing with, but could be something in another organ that's actually causing it.
I completely agree, and I love all the things that you're saying. Kind of what you talked about earlier is a lot of people lean towards Western and they don't know all the availability or what's available out there because, people only know what they know.
Right.
I mean, in my personal experience, I wanted to seek out holistic treatment. And I figured if I didn't follow through with this type of treatment plan, I finished my Western treatment, but I also wanted to see what else was out there. And I told my husband, I said, you know what, I really want to go for it because what if I don't do it? I'm always going to look back and think to myself, well, what if it could help? And I'm glad that I tried it. And yes, it's a little bit longer and a little bit, not as instant gratification, but it was very preventative versus reactive.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, that's how I personally saw it as. They're giving me treatment as a reaction versus preventing this occurrence from happening or this sickness or illness or disease, as you said earlier, from happening. I also think it's truly inspiring how you turned that transition in a way to help others and would love to know more. I think when you and I had talked previously, you mentioned that you also offer mobile chiropractic
Yeah.
services in South Orange County.
Hmm.
How did your journey lead you to this specific focus in your practice?
Sure. Yeah. So it was a rough start after I graduated, which you don't love to hear after spending all this time in school. But such is the card is given, and you just have to figure out which avenue is best for you to take. So I initially started working at a clinic, and it was a very toxic environment. Everyone was treated very cookie cutter, same treatment, basically copy and paste. And to me, that really lost the sense of chiropractic and what we were trying to do as holistic healthcare providers. We essentially were just treating everyone the same, and that's what people do in the everyday life. So, working in that environment, it really kind of pushed me to say, okay, if I don't want to treat people this way, I have few options. I can look at another clinic and hope that they essentially have the same views I do, or I can keep my head down and keep working here to get the experience I need as a new doctor. But ultimately, I decided to branch out on my own and start doing my mobile business to help really find my passion in treating people individually and from an individual holistic healthcare approach. I want people to have specific treatment plans instead of just come in every day, get adjusted for about 5 minutes and then leave. To me, that really wasn't the best form of healthcare. And I felt I could be a better doctor than that. So my mobile practice started by essentially me deciding to leave the position I was at. And I thought, okay, what's a way that I can start helping my community here in Orange County while keeping my overhead low? Again, as a new doctor, the finances were kind of rough, and it was scary to start on my own, knowing that I didn't have many clients or I didn't even have an office to work at. How are people going to find me? And after COVID, I think a lot of people started transitioning to the mobile business and basically concierge. So I actually met a concierge acupuncturist at an event I was at in Newport Beach. And she mentioned how, it was great. She could treat people however she wanted. Her schedule was flexible. Like she was able to have a balanced work life between managing her family, being there for her kids, and then also seeing clients and doing things the way she wanted. So I said, okay, well, we're going to take the leap and we're going to try it out. So I started reaching out to people here and there, friends and family at first, and then it started to grow with exposure. So I basically bring my setup to people's homes and I have all my chiropractic tools in a fun bag and just kind of whip out whatever is needed for each patient. And each one kind of differs depending on the day and what their symptoms are and what they're feeling instead of just following a specific X plus Y equals Z. So yeah, that's kind of what drew me into the mobile world. And people seem to love it since they're able to do it from the comfort of their own home, which also brings another aspect. If you're comfortable in your own home, then you're able to kind of relax and let your guard down and really be open with your practitioner as well.
What a cool business concept. I love that so much, and I could see such a need everywhere. I could use that right now. Come to my home. A little far for you. But I, also just love the story of how you got there, even though it had some struggle in there and a lot of discomfort, I'm sure. But I love how these stories really speak to just the transformation that can happen when you're motivated by these things. They're the financial piece of it. And then this work environment doesn't really align, doesn't really fit what I envision for
Yeah.
people. and that really fueled you and motivated you to get creative or just kind of look for other opportunities. And by looking for more opportunities, you met this other person. And that's a very, very cool concept.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely was scary to start, but I feel like I'm starting to do the right thing. And I feel good when I'm doing what I love. And ultimately, if you're in a position where you're losing your passion for your field, then you might need to do some digging and figure out if there's a more difficult decision that needs to be made.
Oh, that's so, so true. Yes, absolutely. And kind of speaking about transformation, you mentioned people in the home feeling more comfortable. And I mean, I know in chiropractic work, you do kind of have to relax in order to get the most benefit, right? And
Mhm.
trust your chiropractor, the person you're working with. What are some of, if maybe you could just think of an example of like a transformation you've seen in maybe one of your patients?
Yeah, I mean, so one of my patients was a newborn and she had some torticollis coming out of the birthing canal. So basically what happens there is the birthing process is very uncomfortable for both mom and baby, right? If you're a baby, you're being shoved through a small little hole and coming into a new world. And sometimes the body is kind of kinked and twisted as you come out of the womb. And a lot of people don't even know that chiropractic care exists for infants, babies, and mothers. So it's a great avenue as well. But this little girl, she essentially was having her head was tilted to one side and she was having a side preference. So she was having a hard time latching to her mom for another side of her breast. And essentially, the chiropractic care I was doing on her was essentially to correct her neck and stimulate her nervous system. As we're born, the nervous system is still developing. So a lot of times people don't realize that there's still a lot of development that happens after you come out of the womb. And the nervous system is one of those. So being able to apply gentle pressure and just kind of shifting things in the right direction to help the nervous system take on new information and also correct anything that might have happened up until that point in their life, such as coming out of the womb incorrectly or shifted, then it was a substantial difference. I mean, I did a few sessions on her. I think after about 4 sessions, she was able to latch onto her mom on the other side. She wasn't side preferencing anymore and was really able to get some benefit from her neck movement and also from a waist management as well. So her bowel movements were more regular after receiving chiropractic care too. So a lot of good benefits, especially in babies, just because their immune system and their whole body is so quick to respond. So they're very malleable. So that was very transformative.
Holy moly. Well, I am definitely one of those non-realizers in that group. I had no idea that you could do that with a newborn.
Yeah.
And thank goodness that that family had known to reach out to you or known of your knowledge and services that you could provide for this,
Mhm.
brand new human. I really like also how you said that when you were losing your passion in the field or you don't love what you do and it's time to dig deeper, I would love to get your advice on what you would tell someone else to kind of follow their passions like you did. And what would you share as like, what would be their first step toward making a more fulfilling path? Like for someone else who is looking to transition like you have.
Yeah, that's a good question. Making me dig deep here. I would say just find the things that make you happy. And sometimes it's not always the quickest thing to find, but you really have to be able to love what you do and find a passion in that. If you're in a work situation or in a situation that you're not loving, your body's going to pick up on that and your body's going to have these sensations that you may or may not realize, such as like coming home into work every day disgruntled or really getting stressed out. And it's hard because a lot of people do have those external factors, such as finances and supporting families or just something to do with their everyday life or battling depression. Maybe it gets them out of the house, but you just really have to figure out what makes you happy, what makes you smile, and take a step back and kind of do some deep digging. For me personally, that was spending a lot of time in nature. I love the mountains. I love the beach. Hence why I live at the beach. Being able to go on beach walks and really just kind of clear my mind. I did this by just kind of going on walks with an open mind. No headphones, no one to talk to, just spending alone time. When you're by yourself or you really have the time to look inwards. And having all this external sensory input really kind of inhibits that. So the phones, the social media, all of that really can dampen your mood and make you think something that you don't actually believe is to be true. So I would say reconnect, bring your basics back to the earth, spend some time in nature, and really just take some time to yourself to see what you can do to make your life a little bit better.
That makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate you sharing that, and, I agree with you 100%. I would love to know how others can also find you. Would you be able to share where other people can connect with you or maybe reach out to you for your services that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on social media. My handle is aligned by Ariana. And my name is tricky to spell, so you'll have to just leave that in the show notes for people since it's a little unique spelling. You can also find me on my website. It's www.alignedbyariana.com. And yeah, that's the kind of easiest way to reach out to me if you need any sort of help. I'm also happy to chat with you in person as well. I do coach a couple of fitness classes at F45 Fitness. So that's been a great way for me to have an outlet and meet people and talk to them about their health journey. So you're welcome to come to one of my classes. I work at 2 studios in Orange County. So feel free to reach out to me on Instagram and I can help you get in your fitness aspect as well.
That's awesome. Thank you. And we will absolutely put all of your details in the show notes for our listeners so that they can directly find you with clickable links.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
and we really want to just thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And it's incredibly inspiring to hear how you took this personal fuel and discomfort and changed gears. You pivoted and you've gained so much perspective. And I really appreciate you sharing that. I think this has a lot of power in it to help so many of our listeners. And thank you for being here.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. It's been a blast. Feel like I've been doing all the talking, but I appreciate you guys.
As you should.
We're happy you're doing all the talking. We're learning a lot. I have so many notes.
Oh, good.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
To all of our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Transforming and Thriving. We'll be back with more inspiring stories on the first Monday of each month. Please follow us on your favorite podcast app and follow us on Instagram so you can be a part of this community and stay up to date with each episode. Please feel free to leave a review so that we can get your valuable feedback and other people can find these powerful stories. Check out our website as well at transformingandthriving.com. We're all in this crazy life together, so let's move through it together. See you there.